Welcome to a new daily top Askreddit video. Today's topic.
What are the cons of not having kids? No one to revenge your death. Inigo Montoya has entered the chat. Prepare to die. You have fewer excuses to use to call off of work. One of my co-workers never gets sick, but somehow her son always does when she is scheduled to work on a Saturday, probably from his weekend immune system. I'm having medical emergencies in my 40s and still need my 70-year-old parents to bring and take me to appointments. Damn, this one hits real. Getting taken care of when older, especially when everyone else is gone, is toughest. More so without kids. I have one kid, but I'm thinking the same thing. I have several friends who have mothers, fathers whose spouses are deceased and they have to manage their lives basically. I guess if you have no kids, no spouse, you're on your own. I'm 40. I don't have kids. 4 years ago I moved to a new place and befriended my neighbor. He has one daughter from a previous relationship. His girlfriend has 2 more. Also from a previous relationship. They both used to work shifts. So they needed a babysitter for the 2 daughters of his GF. The other girl would go to her mom's place, as she lives really close. 1 year ago, they couldn't find a babysitter for 3 days. And I had to pick up these 2 girls, 5 and 8 years old at the time, from school, help them with homework, have them shower, make them dinner and then put them to bed. They already knew me, of course, as I often hang out with their mother and my neighbor. But I've never kept him alone. I had the best of times. They were a blast. Lovely, kind, would not talk back or make a scene. Nowadays they're 7 and 9, nearly 10. I often go to their place and the youngest gives me the biggest hugs. Then just sit on my lap while the oldest just sit next to me. And both will tell me about their day and talk about random stuff. We do lots of activity together and I'm now more like an uncle than just the neighbor. And I love it. I feel loved. I feel appreciated. It just feels nice. That feeling there is what is lost when you don't have a kid. I think it's surely the only pro of having a kid. That's quite nice. Tie for sharing. I had a cold and jaded heart until I met a girl I liked. She warmed me up a little and I let her in. She had made her little corner in my heart and we got married. But there were still years of abuse gnawing away at my soul. Then we had a little girl. Wow. At first it was a challenge. But as soon as I saw her little personality start to shine through, man, it overpowered all my demons. She does the cutest things and gives the best hugs and kisses. She and my dog are inseparable and sometimes I just sit down and cry silently. Tears of joy run down my face. For the first time in my life I am able to experience pure love. When I walk into the room she says, "Dada," and runs over to give me the biggest hug ever. When she was a few months old she got sick and almost asphyxiated on her own vomit. I ran over to help her and when she saw me, she just smiled. I didn't see panic in her eyes, just love. Who does that? I used to want DINKs but now I wouldn't trade her for all the money in the world. In fact, I'm willing to sacrifice more money and we're now expecting a second girl. All of this to say, kids are the greatest blessing anyone can have. Sure, there is hardship, but that spiritual connection you get is unlike anything you have ever experienced before. That's what nieces and nephews are for. Most of mine have grown up into fabulous adults. Someone has to have the kids before you can play with them. I guess you'd be lucky if your siblings want kids while you don't, lol. It can make you feel isolated from your peers, whether childless by choice or circumstance. Almost all of my friends had kids so they all gather for birthday parties and get to hang out. Since my wife and I have no kids, we're never invited to these events because why would we be? So you miss out on a lot of friend time. This is the same with me and my husband. Our friends are having kids, sometimes more kids, and so they all hang out without us. It's actually hard to make adult friends in your 40s without children. That's really weird. My parents had us, me and my sister, in their early 20s, while all of their friends waited until mid-30s to have kids of their own. But they were at all of our birthday parties and we visited them often. Most of the guests on my birthday parties were adults. I remember having interesting conversations with all of them and they were invested in our social interactions, remembering my interests and my favorite games. Holidays are kinda depressing. I went to watch my nephews open gifts on Christmas morning, then spent the rest of day changing exhaust manifold gaskets, oil change, and a tune-up on my truck just because I had nothing going on. I'm single, 40, no kids, no family near me. I have had some solo holidays that sucked and done that were lovely. If you have free time, I always suggest volunteering. I've met amazing people with common enough interests of all ages. Many turned into family. I also have single friends with grown kids. They're the ones I can count on for the holidays. When I want to impress my wife by doing the dishes, I can't just secretly get the kids to do it for me. I tell my dishwasher to do it. So do I, but she's not as impressed when I make her wash them and then I try and take the credit. According to Reddit there are none. Having kids is a drain on your finances, your personal well-being, and ruins the planet. I had one because I thought we could provide a loving, stable home to raise someone who could be a productive member of the next generation of people. It's also fun to pass down traditions such as dressing up and trick or treating for Halloween. Drinking out of the hose in summer. That the proper way to eat ice cream is with sprinkles. I knew I would miss out on that if I didn't. It's sort of intangible and lots of people on here would say it's not worth it. I don't expect him to take care of me when I'm old. But I'd be honored to still be a part of their life when they are an adult. Honestly, you sound like a very decent human and I share your feelings. Reddit is pretty cringe towards kids. Reddit is pretty cringe .. towards kids .. I am two things. Someone who doesn't want kids. Who hates the anti-kid movement. An atheist. Who hates stringent and vocal atheists. Live and let live. People. I don't believe in God and I don't want kids. But I sure as shit see nothing wrong with believing in God, religion and having kids. The fact that you don't automatically assume but instead would be honored to still be in your kids' life just hit me deep. My parents were pretty awful and definitely expected me to take care of them when they got older. Which is not in the cards because they were both awful to me growing up. Lol. It sounds like your kid is lucky to have you.